Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hoppets. Today looking at more beer that I got from beerjum.com, a great Belgian web shop that you guys should definitely check out. They have a lot of beer on there from the States, and this is from the States, but it's Belgian style beer. So this is two beers. This is a 2-for-1 review because I thought these would be good to pair together, because it's basically this, like a base beer and the variation on it. So this, guys, is from Ommegang over in the States from, I believe, Cooperstown, New York. That only brews Belgian style beers, and this is the Ommegang Gnomegang Blonde Ale and Ommegang's Gnomegeddon Blonde Ale. So pretty fun stuff. So if you know Ommegang, they got bought out by Duvel-Moortgat when I can't remember. It's a while back. And Duvel-Moortgat has a lot of brands underneath their portfolio, one of them being the La Chouffe beers. And their famous La Chouffe Blonde Ale, it's a Belgian strong golden ale. It's a very nice, classic Belgian style beer. And the reason why this beer then is called Gnomegang, because you probably recognize the gnomes, because they're on those La Chouffe beers, is that because this beer is made with the same yeast. So that's pretty cool. Then Ommegang did a Belgian strong golden ale that they learned how to do from the guys that brew the Chouffe beers and use their yeast. So they say it's kind of like a taste of the old world made new, because they made it in the States and it's not completely the same recipe. But it says it's a blonde ale brewed with Chouffe's signature yeast with a brilliant golden hue and the tiniest flavors of caramel and candy sweetness, and it's on 9.5%. So that's a regular beer. That's the base beer, which is based off of the Chouffe Blonde Ale. Then what they did was they released a limited edition version that Beerjum also had, which comes in a big 750, which is the Ommegang Gnomegeddon Blonde Ale with one of the gnomes riding a bomb, which is kind of funny. And just the different things, that's still 9.5%, but they did secondary fermentation with Brettanomyces on this one to make it a bit different. So that's pretty cool. They talk about here how the secondary fermentation with Brett yeast gives a wild and funky different aroma. So it's they use at least 3, they condition it in the bottle as well, so where it's spends at least 3 months re-fermenting before they release it. So that's pretty cool. So I think, of course, we should start off with the regular version and then try the Brett version after. So we got the Ommegang Gnomegang poured, and that pretty much looks like a classic Belgian strong golden ale. Very effervescent. I got some yeast floaties in there actually as well, but very effervescent golden yellow color. It looks great in the glass. Nice frothy white head. You can easily generate some head on a 9.5% beer. That's pretty awesome. But let's check out the aroma on the Ommegang Gnomegang Blonde Ale with the La Chouffe yeast. Oh yeah, that smells like classic Belgian strong golden ale. I haven't had the regular just La Chouffe Blonde Ale in ages, so I can't really remember completely what it smells like, but I'm getting similar vibes. You know, think of those kind of beers, the Belgian strong blonde ales, like that one, the La Chouffe and Duvel. Duvel, I think is how you say it. It means devil, but yeah, it's a lot of freshly baked bread, doughy breadiness, stewed pears and apples, a little bit of white grape and sweet maltiness, sweet bready malt. Lots of fruity esters from the yeast, like big fruity esters from that Chouffe yeast. Smells super authentically Belgian for an American brewed product, but again, they're also owned by Duvel-Moortgat now, so that kind of makes sense. But yeah, and then some sweet maltiness. They say a touch of caramel sweetness. I'm not getting that just like generic sweet malt, but it smells like a nice, refreshing Belgian strong blonde ale. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, guys, and thanks to Beerjum for the beer. Classic Belgian strong golden. I can see the caramel note on the flavor more. It's got a more sweet malt profile than something like Duvel. Duvel, people also say, but I think it's Duvel that you pronounce it. It's got a little bit of that sweet malt character and a little bit of a sugar, like almost like not candy, just like straight white sugar type flavor. And then lots of yeast esters, lots of that kind of freshly, or yeah, not freshly baked yet, but yeast ester of like stewed apples and pears. And actually, it's got a little bit of phenolic character, like a peppery note, but it's actually mostly the esters that dominate on this, like the big on those stewed pears, almost like caramel with the sugar, like a caramelized almost pear type flavor, because it has a bit of that caramel note. And tons of freshly baked, doughy breadiness, and that like the big Belgian yeast character. Let's try and move on to the limited version here with Brettanomyces called Gnomegeddon. So that's clear, of course, because it's a big bottle. I didn't get the yeast in here. But really, look how easy it is to generate a nice looking head, which is pretty awesome for a 9.5% beer. I mean, look at that. It looks really nice. It's got some nice different effervescence to it as well. The other one had like a medium, slightly chewy, but crisp mouthfeel. And this looks like it's going to be the same. It's pretty much the same color, that kind of golden yellow, just more clear because I didn't get the yeast in. And then lots of effervescence in the glass, nice white head. Let's check out the aroma on the Gnomegeddon with Brettanomyces. Oh yeah, Brettanomyces instantly overtakes the other aromas of that farmhousey funk, that kind of musty old cellar. Think actually the similar type funk to Orval beers, the Trappist beers. Yeah, floral as well. It's more floral. It's almost yeah, grassy as well. It's got a bit of just like a dusty type of funk, old funky aroma. Again, that's kind of the musty cellar thing. But yeah, the Brettanomyces really dominates. I'm not really smelling much of the doughy breadiness. It's a little bit there, but I'm not really smelling much of the stewed apple and pears. It's just like really classic Brett funk. Maybe with some of that apple and maybe some white grape character as well, actually. It almost gives like an oaky tone to it because of the Brettanomyces. But yeah, it smells really nice. If you like Brett, I'm sure you like this. I love Brettanomyces, so let's give it a taste. Cheers, and again, thanks to Belgian for the beer. Oh, big Brett character, actually. That's really nice. And it's weird. It's like a mix of that funk, but also like a clean yeast flavor, because I guess that's because it's secondary fermented with Brettanomyces. I'm getting more of that funk, and again, it reminds me of like the Orval funk. It's like that dusty, kind of funky, old musty cellar type thing, almost oaky. And funny enough, the yeast esters that were big on the Gnomegang are more subtle, and it's more phenolics, so more peppery yeast spice and flavors like that, almost like clovey. And then you are getting some of those stewed apple and pears, but they're more on the back seat, with the front seat definitely being the big Brettanomyces flavors. Rating wise, I'm thinking like a straight 90 for the Gnomegang. It's a classic Belgian strong blonde ale, nothing wrong with it, great flavors. It's just not a style that really rocked my world anymore. It's fun to get back to, and it's a great example of it actually, like a Belgian strong blonde. But I really dig the Brett version because you get a bit more complexity, and I do really like that funk. So I'm gonna go 94, I think. Yeah, 94 on the Gnomegeddon. Really nice stuff. So if you guys had a chance to try either the Ommegang Gnomegang or the Ommegang Gnomegeddon, definitely let me know what you thought of the beers. What's one of your favorite Ommegang beers? I think mine might be Three Philosophers. That's really good. Or the Duvel they do. I can't remember the name. It's called ABVs something. That's really good as well. But these two are also really nice, and I think they're new beers in their portfolio after they got bought up by Duvel-Moortgat. But great stuff. Let me know what you think of these two bad boys if you've had a chance to try them. And as always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I want to say cheers in some Brettanomyces Belgian strong blonde ale. See you guys in another beer review.